Oh, and we have rain as we start Q1, and it is absolutely pouring it down over Catalonia. We've got all 20 drivers, and this is going to be quite a car crash ride. So ride on board as we get prepared to start. Will it clear up or will it stay? It's flooding in the pit lane. Absolutely sucking it down. Right, track information. 4 kilometers long. 14 corners, relatively medium speed, overtaking opportunities into turn 1 and 4. When we get someone going out, we will ride on board with them just to see. But it is of course more difficult to overtake in wet conditions. And it's way more difficult to control the car in wet conditions, which we will definitely see around turn 10. As most people in dry conditions even lose the rear end, so in wet conditions we're going to see a lot of spins, a lot of car crashes, and a lot of drama. So let's ride on board with the first person going out. It is King Cobra. Split between inters and wets. I think most people are switching over to wet tyres right now. Someone who isn't is Aspects. I believe they were P3, a podium last race in Australia, and they're hoping to continue. It has missed 3, already gets a 5-place grid penalty. What is that for? Let's ride on board. It was for a collision. Have they got any damage is the question. It seems like they are fine just for now. Oh, and they have spun already at turn 4. And they are facing sideways, but they have got going once again. We will put up the full track map to see. And we have started their flying lap. It is King Cobra. Let's ride on board into turn 1. There is kind of a dry line forming as the cars go around the track, but for now it's clean from King Cobra through turn 1, 2 and 3. And now King Cobra really riding on board quite steadily, not too fast out of the acceleration zones. And this is going to be kind of a tidy lap for them. And we have yellow flags being shown. There's a huddle of cars into turn 10. What is this? AlphaTauri going wide. On Inter tyres, they have absolutely no grip. Everyone on Inter seems to have no grip. Everyone's slowing down to start their lap. The Mercedes gets out of the way. This is an absolute carnage of cars going out of turn 10 now. We have behind all of this Oliver Waltz on Inters, interestingly, is setting the fastest Sector 2 time. So everyone will be watching this with close eyes. Let's see now, Oliver Waltz, across the line they go. It is up to P2, a 125.5, seems competitive for those times we've seen from wet tyre runners. So maybe the gap isn't too big from inters and wets, and it will dry out over the session, so it really is a question. Do you want to go on those inters and risk it? Or do you want to stay safe on those wet tyres? Because sometimes you know, you would rather go for grip, and really those are the wet tires. But let's see how conditions will evolve as we get further away and into the qualifying session of Q1. And Yaki, the next one to go top of the timing charts, a 125.1, is good enough to take them on top. This is very different from dry condition running, and I'm sure a lot of these drivers, they've done a lot of sim work, probably not in wet conditions, probably mostly in dry, most definitely I'd say. But you know, wet conditions do prove a challenge, and let's see who's most up for it. Of course, the simulator work ends now, and it's all about race pace, really getting into it. Let's see, next driver cross the line. It is going to be Matthew May. I believe they might have been doing a cooldown lap. Of course, you do use less ERS if you are on a wet lap, since you go slower around every single corner. So of course, much more ERS using. And that means you can do more runs in qualifying, which might be crucial, getting that perfect lap time in on freaking conditions. Oh, and was that a spin? Yes, it is a Ferrari going across the gravel at turn 1, and already conditions seem to be deteriorating. We've got Samuel Drakeley trying their luck on intermediate tyres. Their teammate FK Seidani goes up to P7, quickly dethroned, now down to P8, 125.6 on intermediate tyres. They seem very competitive with the wets for now. What will Samuel Drakeley do? This seems good from the Alpine driver. Is it good enough? Yes, it is. Up to P2 they go. A 125.2. We're seeing track times improve constantly. And who will be next to dethrone Yaki if there is somebody? And GP2 engine once again has a little travel through the gravel at the outside of the exit of turn 9. And we have their teammate, it's Alfa Romeo 1-2 just for now in Q1. And that is Laser, a 125.2. They are second in the session. And Bright has retired. What is that for? They have retired into pit lane, I do believe. So definitely not technical difficulties, but I'm not quite too sure what that was about. Now Jansot starting their lap. Right, King Cobra on those old wet tires. Oh, and they have spun it at turn 12. As I was saying, they just lost grip, and King Cobra wanting to really improve on their currently very good streak, and in fact to go top of the championship. They won in Australia and hoping to replicate that once again in Spain. What could they do as the Yaki improves on their time? A 124.3. Seems miles ahead of the rest of the grid, so they're clearly finding grip, maybe done a bit more wet tyre running than others. And Yaki now goes on top, a 124.3, improving on their already top of the grid lap time. Let's go down to pit lane. That is Oliver Waltz coming in, but coming out, I believe that is a Ferrari of GP2 engine. Let's see if they can find a clean lap without spinning it. Jansot on those wet tyres, not taking any risks, goes up to P8, a 125.6. And really, now it is all about if you can control your car. And it seems like Alfa Romeo are finding to do so. Let's ride on board with Apex. They'll have less grip on those intermediate tyres, of course. A 124.3 on wet seems very, very, very nicely done compared to those intermediate tire runners. So let's see what Apex could do. 24.7 through the first sector. Completely different from dry tire running. I don't believe we've seen any wet conditions so far this week. So this will be the first qualifying session to have wet conditions. And let's see how drivers will cope with that. Apex really squarely out of the exit. And that was Danny, I believe, improving 8/10. People are finding improvements, and on inters, they are finding improvements, and that is Apex crossing the line. A 125.4 really mid-pack, and you can't get an idea of what time you'll need to survive through the session into Q2, and a lot of people will be using more tires than they'd want to, especially throughout wet conditions in the race. And was that fruity? 9/10 improvement up to P4 Lego. And the pit entry into Spain as we ride on board with Laser in Alfa Romeo. It's really tricky in wet conditions. You're sliding all over, and you don't need Lewis Hamilton to tell you how difficult it is into the approach not to hit the inside of the pit wall and really get damaged, which is not what you want to do, and you might be an F because of it. Right, a few people yet to set their lap time. Adama is one of them. Bubbly won't set a lap time because they have DNF from the session. So let's see what Adama could do on wet tires. Currently, wet tires do seem to be faster as they top the session at 124.3 from Yaki, who's currently in the pit lane. Let's see if Adama could match that time or do better. And this corner you would want to take flat out, but on wet tires you're really unsure. A 1 minute ban on from Adama through the second sector. Oh, and have they just lost it through turn 10? They have kept on going, but it looks like to be a bit of oversteer from the Red Bull. Let's see if that matters on. Oh, was that the Ferrari cutting the pit lane, which a lot of drivers do, but right into the path of the Red Bull of Adama. I'm sure they were coming in, or at least trying to come in. But that pit entry really proves to be difficult yet again. And on intermediate tyres, it's bright. Put their hash up to P2, a 124.6. Still Yaki, early on in the session though, they are topping the timing chart. And it's bright, setting purple lap times, I should say sector times, through sector 1. Let's see if they can keep it going. You want to turn early into turn 5, I do believe, and go past that Williams who goes spun out. Was that? No, it was Lars Williams of FT Dove. Oh, and Fruity Coast becomes the next one to top the timing charts. A 124.3. It's bright, setting a purple sector time through sector 2. Could they keep this up through the ever so difficult sector 3? You go around turn 13 and 14 and 12 really squirrely, and that is what It's Bright is doing for the time being. You want to take this flat out through normal conditions, but the slowing down under wet. And It's Bright becomes the next one to top the times, a 124. point 0 is good enough to take them on top. And is it good enough to survive? I guess we will find out quite shortly. A few people still in the pit lane. They'll have to get a move on, and FGE dove. They have retired from the session. What is that about? Oh god! And at turn 14, I believe they might have been wanting to go into pit lane. And they are now out of the session. Spain, of course, not that much of an overtaking track, so you really want to do all the talking in qualifying. Of course, overtaking opportunities are normally into turn 1, but without any DRS, which it does seem to be like for now, under wet conditions, then you really want a high qualifying position, because you're not going to have any DRS to use, and Spilex going out on wet tyres, it's not the changeover period for them just yet. And that might just be Spilex out of the session, I hate to say it. But everyone else on enters. Right, track info for Spain. Ever so reminiscent for not being such a great track. You know, it is one of only... I mean, it's not a street track, so at least that's one thing crossed off. As street tracks really fill the calendar of F1, as we see an Alpine of Danny off at turn 4. And they get going once again. Jonas now, the next one to retire, and retiring in the pit lane for the Red Bull driver. Of course, Barcelona introduced in about 2014, I believe it was. It did replace the Circuit of Valencia. Oh, and the McLaren struggling to find grip and smashing it into the wall at turn 5, the run up to turn 5. And that might just be them out, ruining their flying lap on intermediate tyres. They are not seeming to find any grip and retiring from the session. They might just be out if people below can improve. And we will find out quite shortly, as Mr. E, 8/10 up on their time, and set in purple sector time. Mr. E now, what do they do? And it is up to P3 for Mr. E, pushing Oliver Waltz in the danger zone. And could Adama improve? This is crucial. This will push Danny out of the session, and now Adama. Through turn 13 they go. Is it a good enough lap time? They're going to have to keep it clean through the final corner. Really riding the inside curb, and this looks to be good. And it is P11 as behind GP2 engine sets the fastest lap time of the session, and that is actually Apex out. Apex is out in P16, followed by Oliver Waltz, FG Dove, Spilex and Bubbly, who barely set any lap times. And that was Yaki, top of the session at 123.6. They seem to be really strong, and going out at the end of the session has really proved helpful for them as they go top of the timing charts right at the end, 123.6. Ethan Beans only one. Of course, Mr. E was at 5th place grid penalty, but Ethan Beans the only driver to set their fastest lap time on wet and also get through. And the rain seems to have calmed down as 6 drivers are actually out, so we only have 14 heading into Q2. We've got 15 minutes. And everyone's setups will be looking to change in different conditions, of course. Wet setup and dry setup, it's very different, I mean. Rain seems to have calmed down. A lot of people are going to be out on inters. I don't think we'll see any dry tyre running or wet tyre running. And yes, Fruity Co's is out on those intermediate tyres, and you really need to be saving some inter tyres. And I believe a lot of people in here will be out on all tyres. And Frutico, starting the lap, let's take you through it. You have a right-hand return, long run down to the first corner. Want to carry some speed into it, and early on the accelerator to get out of the corner into turn 2. A right-hander bending through turn 3. You want to take that inside line and then go out, but on wet conditions it is different. You want to really follow that dry line through turn 4 now. To the inside of the corner and then going out wide and cutting in for turn 5. It seems like Fruity is doing a good job so far. Staying off the outside curb is crucial, and Fruity has done so. When you don't really want to go on the outside curb of turn, I believe it was 8 or 7, so I mean that has definitely lost them a bit of time. But let's see their rest of their lap. Now Fruity across the line, what will it be for the McLaren driver? 122.4, and we are seeing major improvements from those Q1 timings already in this session. King Cobra plants their car right in the middle, P2 a 122.1. But I'm sure that is still to change as we have more drivers crossing the checkered line now. Zonus and what was it? Was it SA Bolt? Bolt must have messed up somewhere because a 126.2 to start off with, not the best timing Matthew May now top of the session at 121.3 and wanting to improve from a lackluster weekend in Australia. And might it just be time for some dry tyres at the end of the session, because right now we are on the path for some dry tyres. If it does clear up, which it seems to be doing, as Yankee improving a 121.1, followed by Jansot 121.2, following Yankee closely across the line to go P1 and P2. And Matthew May now improving on airtime. We're seeing improvements all across the board. And the next one to improve is Matthew May without any ERS actually. Matthew May goes top of the Cessna 120.9. Oh, and that is Samuel Drakeley taking a bit of a travel across the gravel at 10.4. And we have It's Bright going top of the session and by 4/10 as well. We're seeing various different times. 120.5 is the current time to be. And are these all tyres? You do have to ask, because I mean you are going to be using up a lot of intermediate tyres if this rain does extend to the race as well. So it's really all about tyre savings as for now. And that is Mystery going up to P4. And it's all about getting these into those tyres. Right, Samuel Drakeley looking to find an improvement and not finding one for now. Currently on a slow lap. They must be waiting to go and they are off. And past the checkered line. What could they do as they're looking to find improvements compared to the rest of the grid? And then a bit of, I believe, oversteer is Samuel Drakeley, which is really common in these wet conditions, and we've seen wet races around Spain, and this is just one more. So let's see how everyone will perform. As Samuel Drakeley crosses the line, it doesn't seem to be good, and only up to P10, right on the cusp, for 121.6, and shortly topped by Fruity Goes, I do believe. Yes, Fruity Goes, top of the session, a 120.1. And wanting to take that championship lead, Fruity obviously, with Josh being absent today. Fruity goes, they seem on track to do so, a 120, I should say, a 120.1. Right, Adama, they haven't set a lap time so far into the session, and how late are they leaving it, but it seems to be working for the Red Bull just so far. Now Adama goes across the line, it is up to P3 for the Red Bull right in the mix. But you gotta ask yourself, how much more dangerous is it with these wet track? Well, wet track conditions, and I mean, with a track like Spain, the elevation is high, it's up and down. And of course, if this does continue into the race, we will see a lot of varying speeds. As that was Adama retiring, and where have they retired? Because it looks like they have smashed it into the side of the pit lane. Let's ride on board. Nope, we're not gonna ride on board, we're just gonna forget about it, in fact. And Samuel Drakeley is going to be fast out. They're going to have to be, at least, if they want another lap in these rain conditions. Could it be time to go to soft tires? Samuel Drakeley will definitely be thinking about it, and they're going to have to make up their mind quick with time running out. The time is of the essence, as a bonus on intermediate tires. It has stopped raining in Spain, and I do believe some people might be going for those soft tires. It's going to dry quickly around Spain. It's known to do so, but Jonas for now up to a 120.8 to take them to P4. Not the best lap time exactly. And it is Matthew May, next one to go on top of the timing seat, a 119.9. And Samuel Drakeley is going out on intermediate tires, but does not have enough time to get through everything and on with his lap, because he might have just left it too late to go out. And we have 40 seconds left remaining in the session, and Ethan was at a fast enough lap time. A 120.9 seems to be right on the cusp, as we see other people improving by tenths of a second. Mr. E, 119.7 to take them top. We're gonna see a lot of improvements. And who has left it to the latest? GP2 engine has lost it at turn 1 and across the gravel they go. They won't have enough time to start another lap. And that might speed them out if everyone behind can find improvements. And it does seem to be happening so far. And SA Bolt, top of the session at 119.6, and it seems to be dry as we approach the start of Q3, but for now, it is Jansot currently in the drop zone. Matthew May improves to a 119.3. Jonas seems to be slow. Are they out? It looks to be. Jonas might just be out of the session. It depends what everyone behind to do, but they might be safe. King Cobra moves Jonas down to P5. A 119.8. Is that safe enough? As we're seeing the rest of the grid, what is happening as Jonas retires from the session. Fruiticos, what could they do? Curry down in P8, right on the drop zone. And they improve to find P3 with a 119.6. And they might just be dethroning Joss at the end of this round. Jansot! It is Jansot up to P1. Taking provisional best lap time just for now, and yes, it will be best lap time of the Q2 session. Jansot stopping a 119.0. And it is rather dry as we start the Q3 session, and we will finally see some dry tire running around these 14 corner, 4 kilometer long track.
It's not always motor vehicles you'll see tearing around this track. Since 2016, the racetrack hosts the 24-hour Bi-Circuit Festival, an ultra-distance cycling event featuring 24-hour, 12-hour and 6-hour races. At the 2006 Spanish Grand Prix, Fernando Alonso became the first Spanish Formula One driver to win at his home country's track while driving with Renault, winning year. He would go on to win again in Spain in 2013 while driving for Ferrari.
And to start the session, everyone is on the soft tires, and they're gonna have a few spare sets heading into race, which will definitely mix up those strategies, which we thought were so predictable. So let's see, Fruticos starting their flying lap. Across the line they go. And track grip will really ramp up. Further into the session we go as Fruticos are really spinning it and losing the rear end through legs off turn 3, but they continue going. It is purple, of course, through the first sector. And GP2 ends in. There are yellow flags. I believe they might have just backed out of that lap, as they are going slowly now. Oh, and we have a spin! The first spin of the session. It is Jansot at turn 3. We're on a flying lap, and the keyword is were, as they have definitely stopped that now, and they might have another attempt at it. Oh no! And they have got a missing front wing. Their front wing is gone, and they're gonna have to come into pits right away, as they had a big moment into a wall. Fruticos now. Nope, they have invalidated their lap and thought they would be the first time across the line, but they have invalidated it. GP2 engine will be across the line at 127.2. Of course, that is not representative, as I believe they did have a moment and a spin. But King Cobra, a 114.9 for Aston Martin. Could their teammate behind beat it? A 127.3. They must have backed out of it somewhere. Matthew May now, they've been looking fast all season, and is it yet again? Yes! A 114.6. Top of the timing chart for Matthew May in the Williams. They're hoping to improve, of course, and improving so far, getting themselves into Q3, and could they go all the way and take pole position is the question. Lasers in the Alfa Romeo. Never mind what car it is, they seem to be finding pace through all the sessions, and once again, as they go top. Alright, Fruticos and Jansot, the only ones yet to go out on a lap and not set a lap time at all. And they are now into pit lane. Oh, and we have Mr. E, top of the session at 113.7. Round it to a 113.7, 7 thousandths of a second off. And we're seeing improvements all over. And it's all about maybe who can get out the latest to do that lap. Right, what could Yaki do? Is it going to be good? Yes, it is, and it is good enough for provisional pole position for Alfa Romeo. Pushing down Meister to P2. And with that King Cobra going top of the session, a 113.3, we're seeing improvements all over, both invalidating their lap time. Jansot's now. And will they have confidence in the car, which is so key in these 5 tiers? Tier 2 we are currently on, having smashed into the wall. They're looking to really prove themselves wrong and set a good lap time, but will it be good? From Jansot, it's a 121.8 through the first sector. Jansot's now, everyone eyes is on them. As everyone else in the pit lane, they are. What could Jansot do? Oh, and have they just touched too much of laneside curb? No, they haven't, because they go top of the session at 112.3. And could this just pay off? But they are going to have to be quite quick into pit lane if they want to go out on another set of tyres. And for another lap. As we head into the final few minutes of the session. It's really quiet in the pit lane just for now, but that might change as there's movement from the Ferrari garage. It's the GP2 engine going out on a lap. And we can see the huge gap between all the cars really, 115 to 112. And it's all about when you have gone out, so a lot of people now will have the equal opportunity to get pole position. Mr. E will be hoping to go out in clean air. But 2 minutes left in the session. Have they gone too early is a question, or will they do another warm-up lap? It seems like they are going now. And will it pay off for Mr. E in the Aston Martin? Oh, and Ralph, Mr. E nearly invalidating us, I believe, to the run-up of turn 4, but for now, they have set the fastest sector 1 time. And this is gonna have to be perfect from the Aston Martin driver. They don't have enough time to get back round. So what will it be, the time to beat, as we head into the final minute? And from the Aston Martin driver, Mr. Key takes provisional pole position at 111.6. Right, and it is a race to the line, in fact, for the Ferrari driver of TP2 engine. Nope, they are on a lap, in fact. They are on a lap. But is it too early to go on a lap time? We will find out shortly. Oh, and they have run a bit wide through the exit of turn 9. And that has definitely cost them a bit of lap time. But currently, the fastest sector 2 time, could they keep it up? And could they keep it clean through the ever so difficult turn 14? A lot of drivers will be hoping to go flat out now, having not experienced these dry conditions all throughout quali. Who can prepare themselves the best? Is it GP2 engine? And it is! Provisional front row onto grid for GP2 engine. It could have been much more if they could drag out some extra tenths of a second. But for now it is P2 for GP2 engine. Mr. E will be going into pit lane, currently on provisional pole position, but that is all yet to maybe even change. As Jonas setting the fastest sector 2 time, we're seeing track conditions ramp up. And could Jonas be the next one on provisional pole position? Let's ride on board. Through turn 14 they go. Touching the outside curb, and it is going to be only P3 for Jonas, a 112.0. And SA Bolt behind, getting a 111.9. It is provisional front row onto grid for Matthew May, but it could have been much more. Does Alfa Romeo have anything to say about it? No, P4. And Yegi now with DRS down the main straight. We're going to get a slipstream, but no, it's Mr. E on pole. But that is actually going to change because they have a 5-place grid penalty for impeding at Q1. So it is going to be Matthew May. And it is a 5-place grid penalty, I believe, for Mr. E. And that means Matthew May takes pole position, and what a high this is. Was a Williams driver. Now we've got all 20 drivers on the grid. Suspense running high. It is a dry start to the race. And we do have the formation lap to kickstart this session. 2 minutes are over, and let's see what everyone has gone for. Of course, the setup is the same as you run in qualifying, and for some drivers that might just be bad because they have the wet tyre setup. Not quite too sure about though. And it is the formation lap, and it is Matthew May taking pole position after Mystery was demoted a few places, and starting on soft tyres, and they're going to be on the track behind. It is going to be GP2 engine and only fuel DRS, but that is actually fine because it has dried up from qualifying, so a lot of more overtaking will happen in these dry conditions, a lot more. And now, Matthew May lining up on the grid. They took pole, and they'll be wanting to improve. And on those medium tyres, it's all about just keeping that lead and keeping in that top pack. And what will it be for Matthew May as they line up on the grid, taking their spot? Nope, they have, I believe, lined up a bit too far ahead, and now they are going to be back and nearly wheel to wheel with the Ferrari on the race start. And this will give the Ferrari an amazing opportunity to get them down into turn 1. And here we go. 5 red lights. And they're out. We've got a lot of drive-through penalties carnage at the start, but it's Frutico's right on the starting and right on the tail of Matthew May, both on mediums. Into turn 1, they're going to be side by side. What will happen here? Being squeezed out wide is Matthew May and having to cut across the track. But we've got Matthew May still ahead, but they're going to have to give that position. Yankee getting a good start. And now side by side with the Ferrari. The Ferrari losing out at the race start. They're still side by side heading into turn 5. And now the Ferrari on the inside. Will they give enough space to allow for really banning red tyres now? And this is getting aggressive between the two Ferrari engines, but it seems to be like the Ferrari... No, the Ferrari has been spun round, being hit on the rear by Alfa Romeo, and now spun out of the race. GP2 engine, it might just be out of contention, in fact. And now right on the tail of Frutico's and wanting to take P1 back, it's Matthew May, and they're going to have a good launch from turn 14. Will it be good enough? They're going to enable some ERS, so will Frutico's, and it seems to be like the top two are stretching their advantage all over the rest of the grid. Now we do have VSC to slow things down, and I don't believe anybody will be coming into pit just as yet. Now we do have DRS enabled, and the grid is really scrunched up here, and a lot of people serving their drive-through penalties now. They got that on lap 1, and actually Samuel Drakely replacing their front wing. That's gonna cost them a lot of lap time. Now, right on the tail of Fruitico's is Matthew May going through turn 14. They both go. And now having a DRS, and this might just be a double overtake on Fruitico's coming into turn 1. And we're going to go too wide into turn 1. But no, Yankee backs out of that move. And Fruitico's now down to P3. They had nothing to defend with. Oh, and Fruitico's really having to swerve to avoid colliding with the rear of Yankee. Now this top 4 pack really running very closely to each other. Now having a DRS on the back of Matthew May, but are they a bit too far away to try and overtake? I mean, the overtaking opportunity into turn 1, it's pretty clear cut, and there's a main overtaking and one of the only overtaking opportunities around this 14 corner long track. And King Cobra now falling to P9, and not the best race for them after a high in Australia. They seem to be crashing right to the ground in Spain, and that was maybe a spin to bring them down into P9. Running higher, I believe they were. Now right behind FC Dove is SA Bolt, in fact, who's wanting to improve on a lackluster day so far after being demoted to Tier 2 from Tier 1 and really not showing the pace like you would expect them to. Oh, and we have FD Dove nearly banning retires with Bolt. Seems to be quite a boring race so far, but strategies will definitely mix it up. Clear skies, 0% chance of rain, I'd say. And now, when will those soft tires run out? We're seeing Yaki so far being able to stay on the back of Matthew May and will be lining up an overtake laps for sure into the next few laps. And here they are with DRS and already right on the tail of Matthew May at the end of the second DRS zone. And you really do not want to touch the inside of that corner, you really do not, that will definitely spin you out, but they seem to have survived it for now. And those soft tires have much more grip, that means you can go flat out through turn 14, getting a better exit, and right on the tail of Matthew May is now Yaki, and might they just be absolutely defenseless going into this corner, but Yaki rides the curb of turn 1, and that does not give them the best exit. And staying right on the tail is Matthew May, and they're very close, but behind we've got Fruity Co's making a lunge down the inside of Laser into turn 4, and they seem to have got that move done, but Laser will try and come back. No, Fruity Co's maybe outbraking themselves. That leaves the door open for Laser to come back with a better exit, and Fruity Co's is in fact splashing so far, having used up all their ERS. Now, looking at the rest of the grid, we have FC Dove really being attacked by Bolt, but not making a move yet. AlphaTauri currently sitting in P6 and 7, very close together. And Matthew May might just be a bit too far back to make a move on the Alfa Romeo, and yes they are. And it seems to be everyone just using themselves, and no, that was Bolt overtaking FTE Dove on those medium tyres, who seem to be coming to life right now. Oh, and we have a spin! It is the Ferrari at the gravel at turn 12. What they have got going again is their gravel on track. Is there enough for a safety car? It seems to be fine just for now. And the Fruity Coast having DRS on the back of Matthew May and making the move with a better exit, but have they gone too wide? This leaves the door open for Matthew May to try and come back at Fruity Coast. They're running very close to each other now, nearly banning the rear wing and front wing. And while I say all of this, Yaki is managing to extend their lead, but it still seems to be that Fruity Coast is right on the tail and maybe overtaken into turn 1. They're much faster, and they're gonna send it down the inside of turn 1, and they seem to have absolutely broke perfectly to get that move done. And now Matthew May will try it round the outside of turn 3. Will it be happening? Scores Williams. No, they are sticking behind just for the time being. Now Yaki closing on the back of Fruticos and making a move past Fruticos into turn 1. But Fruticos might have a look back past Alfa Romeo. They're closing and closing into turn 3. And now taking a different line and staying to the inside curb, but not managing to make a move past. And as I say, all of this SA Bolt behind is closing on this fight and is about to be in the DRS zone of lasers. And Fruticos making a move past Yaki. We're seeing that number 1 position swap around constantly, and now Fruticos has got it. And let's take this time to look at the position painters. The main winners, moving up 12 and 13 positions, is FG Dove and the Bubbly, currently running in P7 and 6, as well as Fruticos are currently race leader. And they have moved up a total of 2 positions from P3. Now Samuel Drakery getting a 3-second time penalty. Track limits around Spain. Not much to talk about it, like quite lenient, but it looks like Samuel Drakery has just gone past it. And now getting a 3-second time penalty for themselves. Bubbly coming into pit lane. What will it be for the AlphaTauri driver? And they seem to be coming in for a new set of medium tyres. And why is there a slow stop? Was there a slow stop? I believe it was, and why exactly I'm not quite too sure, but they will come out in P13. Just ahead of this fight, the Red Bull and Alpine. Oh, and Yaki going into pit lane on the soft tyres and taking a careful approach into pit lane, which is quite difficult in Spain as well. So that is Yaki in the pit lane. Frutico's really managing to extend their gap at the top. Oh, and that is Matthew May into pit lane, and that is surely some hard tyres to the end for the Williams driver. Let's see the tyre situation. We have most people picking onto new medium or soft, no, hard tyres, yeah, hard tyres. Now Matthew May, hard tyres it is to the end of the race, and those will not provide much grip. It's a double stack for Williams, and FG Dove had to wait a bit, and will now come out behind Aston Martin because of it. Now, Frutico has a bad exit out of turn 14, and that allows Lasers to close in with some DRS. Is there a safety car? We've got yellow flags. It is GP2 engine, I believe. One of the Ferraris retiring in the pit lane. No, it was Spilex retiring in the pit lane. And what disappointment it is for them. And King Cobra, where will they come out in comparison to everyone else? And they will come out right in the middle of this fight with Samuel Drakeley and Adama. This is not ideal for them at all. And now wanting to get past Jonas quite quickly and trying to switch back out of turn 5. What a move it is for Yaki, but Jonas isn't giving up just yet. Well, they might be forced to as they squeeze off track and onto the curb. Oh, and they nearly banned their tires and nearly spinning Yaki out, but Jonas is forced to back out. Now Lasers on the back of Frutico's, and they have got the move done with the helping of some DRS down the main straight into turn 1. And these two fighting each other really not helping their race time and allowing those people on the hards to really close in, and these two are definitely extending for some soft tires. And is that the right call? We will find out quite shortly. Everyone will have those soft tire sets, having it rained in qualifying. Oh, and Jonas has had a moment at turn 4. And now trying to get back on the track, having spun round and been sideways on the track, Jonas has managed to get going again. Or at least two. Lasers and Frutico staying out another lap at least. Is that the right call? I don't believe so, but Mr. E making their move past Ethan, but Ethan will now have the DRS on the back of Aston Martin because of it. Maybe not the smartest move, but what could Mr. E do now to stay ahead? Now it looks like Ethan is going awfully slowly, and now being overtaken by FTE Dove on new tyres. And everyone who is out on those olds is crossing their fingers and really hoping to their lucky stars for a safety car. And we have Lasers and Fruticos going into pit lane now, and it will be no surprise that they are going onto some soft tyres.
The number of hours they spend here, darling.
Oh, and look how close these two are going out of the pit lane, barely meters away, as they both exit the pit lane now, coming out in P5 and P6, just ahead of Mr. E. But these two are fighting, and let's actually stick on board. Fruticos closing and closing on the back of Alfa Romeo of Lasers. And these two will have a fight to the end, that's for sure. Yankee now on those medium tyres. They seem to be in the provisional lead, as SA Bolt due to pit any moment now. They have left it maybe a bit too late. Oh, and here we go, Fruticos trying an overtake on Lasers. Are they going to be close enough going into main straight? Lasers has more ERS, but with that DRS, could Fruticos make a move past? Let's see. Fruticos closing and closing and moving to the inside to make a move past up to P4. Right, Matthew May wanting to salvage their pole position, and they are closing on Yegi. They just need to get into that DRS zone of the Alfa Romeo driver. And Bubbly moving up 17 positions to put their car into P3. It's been a mega performance for them. Have they perfected the strategy? It seems to be that way just for now. Matthew May closing and closing on the back of Yaki, who are both using their ERS. Fruticos setting the fastest lap time of the race. They've done that with DRS on the back of Bubbly, and they want to make that move. They don't want to be held back by the AlphaTauri driver. Low softs are gonna wear out at the end of the race, so they're gonna have to do this quickly. And you can see how slower those medium tyres are, but it's Fruticos taking the inside line and trying to switch back on Bubbly, braking later on those newer tyres, and it looks like Fruticos has got past, and Lasers will be wanting to do the same. At time 7, you don't see many overtakes there, but Lasers has done it. And here we go, Matthew May inside the DRS zone of the Yankee. What could happen between these two? They're both on relatively new tyres, mediums and hards. You expect those mediums to be pulling away, but it is Yankee being overtaken by Matthew May going into turn 1. They were very close together, but Matthew May managing to outbrake the Alfa Romeo. And we have behind FG Dove and Mr. E on exactly the same tyres, with penalties as well, quite crucially. Now is Yankee a bit too far back to try a re-overtake on Matthew May? As I say all of this, these soft tire runners, Fruticos and Lasers, are gaining and gaining on the top 2. And that is crucial because they're going to fall into a fight quite soon. And Matthew May is flashing. That leaves Yankee to move past the Williams and break in good time to get up to P1. These positions are changing all around. These two might just be slipstreaming each other for some DRS to get closer to this fight. I believe that might just be what Lasers is doing with Fruticos, which is a smart move because any of these 4 could still win the race. Your bet is on those soft tire runners, but will those softs last until the end of the race? They will definitely wear out way faster than those hard tires, which will definitely have a lot of grip still left at the end of the race. We do have yellow flags. Who is it for? It's for GP2 Engine, who has gone into gravel. Now trying to rejoin the track. It's not a good day for Ferrari so far. 1 DNF, 1 P16. Right, we've got Matthew May closing and closing. They might just want to use the Alfa Romeo for some slipstream, trying to stay ahead of the soft tire runners for as long as they can. As we have another yellow flag for GP2 Engine once again. Oh, and they have gone into wall. They have drove into wall, and this, yes, it is a safety car, and this is prime time for Matthew May and Yankee to pit. This is a lifeline for those people who aren't on soft tires. And will they actually pit or not? Or will they stay out? It's still yet to know. But I believe these people at the back, I'm talking about Samuel Drakely and all those, they will be loving this opportunity to go into pit lane and go aggressive on those people ahead. And no, Matthew May staying out. Matthew May staying out. But Yankee is coming in. And those are some soft tires, but doing this will lose him track position. And quite a bit. It's going to be a double stack for Alfa Romeo, as they both get a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting under safety car conditions. You have to have some skill to get a track limits penalty under safety car conditions, I must say. But Bolt has done it somehow, I don't know. But Fruticos and Matthew May are staying out. Oh my god, and what is happening? It looks like Matthew May has gone past the safety car. Oh, and no! Fruticos is disqualified from the session for ignoring safety car conditions. This is huge. So is Matthew May. Oh my god. I believe they were allowed past the safety car, but right when they got past, they were disqualified from the session. This is huge. And it's set to overtake the safety car, which Fruity and Matthew May did. But right when they got past, they were disqualified from the session, and that is bizarre. And this is absolutely dreadful news, but Mr. E, just for the time being, and GP2 engine were only ones on medium tyres. And what bad luck it is for Matthew May, having no fault of their own been crashed out in Australia, and now, for no fault of their own, once again in Spain, being de-skewed. And we do have the safety car in this lap. And this is crucial because we're talking about restarts, but it is currently an Alfa Romeo 1-2. Is it going to be that way? Bubbly behind will be looking to go on to attack, and we will restart now. It looks like Yankee has got away quite well, but on their tail is their teammate Lasers, who is moving much faster and moving past their teammate. Bubbly behind, also using some ERS to close up. The Alfa Romeos running side by side. This leaves them vulnerable to an attack. But no, it stays the same going through turn 1. And we have It's Bright trying to switch back on Jansot. Are they going to be forced out wide? Yes, they are, but they leave enough space. But It's Bright having to back off, making that move done. And that was Jansot making a move past It's Bright, who seemed to have run wide. Now we do have everything remaining the same. The same top 3. Bubbly still running in that P3 spot. It's an Alfa Romeo 1-2. It seems to be a lovely day for them so far. Could they bring it home now? And will King Cobra overtake their teammate? Their teammate who seems to be running slower on those medium tires, not allowing the move, especially since they got 3 seconds. But will they allow it now? Now going into turn 1, nothing changed as of yet. That Alfa Romeo really seems to be working. That partnership between both drivers really tugging each other along, but now King Cobra is going to be invited to the party, and what a fight we might have in the remaining few laps. Now, Jonas picking up a 3-second time penalty, currently running down in P14, and there is a huge moment for Ethan, who slams it into the wall. And what has happened there? As they are missing a front wing now, not enough time for a safety car, and they have retired from the session as a run up into turn 1. And heading into the final lap now. This is a lap to make us some overtakes if you really want to get that win. And was that laser stretching out the track limit through the run of turn 11. Was that lasers making this pass? It might have been that from this. Swapping positions really. Everyone behind can't really do anything because of it. I'm sure Cobra and Bubbly would love to make an overtake. But having 2 drivers in the top 2, really working for the Alfa Romeo team, who's hugging each other along right now. Oh, and we have a 5-second time penalty for It's Bright, a severe collision with Adama. Now we have a Bubbly right on the tail of Yaki. What could happen here? They're moving into turn 10. Has Alfa Romeo just outbroke itself? No, it seems like they are all fine. heading out of the corner. And it will be an Alfa Romeo 1-2. Lasers bringing home the victory for the red and white team. It is Alfa Romeo winning in Spain. Bubbly rounds off the podium. It's an Alfa Romeo 1-2. And the question on their mind is it really a fair victory? Is it really a fair victory? But for now it is. Lasers and Yaki making it an Alfa Romeo 1-2. It's a trivial and revelation for the Alfa Romeo. And there we go, the champagne being sprayed all around. And there we go. It is the end of the stream, and Water Racer has been drama everywhere across the path.